What's going on, guys? Here's a video for my Canon followers, the announcement of Canon EOS T4i, also known as 650D. I'll do the same thing I do for my Nikon products. We'll look at some of the basic specs. I'll share, my opinion, my thoughts, some of the things that I like, some of the things I don't like, and you guys can do the same and share your opinion, your comments in the section below. All right, so basic stuff, 18 megapixel camera, and I'm glad they did not, jump to like 24. Recently, there's been a trend of this whole megapixel war, and to be quite honest, I would rather see them improve the ISO performance than just go nuts on megapixel. It's not a shot at Nikon. I am a Nikon shooter. I love Nikon, but I just believe that ISO performance and some of the other features are more important than just increasing your megapixel, because 18 megapixel, 16 megapixel is plenty. It's more than enough in my opinion. Anyway, enough about that. Some of the new features, it's got the full autofocus in movie. Now, I tested that in D7000 and I wasn't really impressed. It was really jittery. So right now I can't tell you how great this feature is. If the video is really smooth, then it's a huge step up, because now with this you can actually do 60 frames per second at 720p, and you can do full 1080p HD at 25, 24, and 30 frames per second. So video wise, it looks pretty solid. I really hope that this new full autofocus in movie mode works out well. Okay. Some of the new features, they have this video snapshot, and what it does is that you can make a 2-second clip, 4-second clip, and 8-second clips, okay, different clips, and the camera will basically combine these clips together. So it's perfect for people who don't know how to really edit the movie, like they don't have a video editing software or they don't feel comfortable doing it themselves. They can basically make these short clips and the camera will just combine them and just make it, one movie. Real quick before I forget, Canon has produced this 8-minute product tour video of this camera, of T4i. I'm going to post a link in the description. Make sure you watch that video because it's got a lot of information. I can cover so much because I don't want to make this a 20-minute introduction video. So in that video you'll see, you'll actually get to see the camera and the effects and all the cool stuff. So make sure you check that out. Another feature they have is they're calling it backlit mode, which is it's basically HDR, your high dynamic range. What it does is that it's gonna bracket your shots. So if you're in a situation where it's a backlit situation and you're gonna have your highlights all blown out, what the camera is gonna do is the camera is gonna take 3 shots real quick, rapidly at the same time basically. One's going to be a regular exposure, one is going to be an overexposure, and one is going to be underexposed. And it's going to combine all those 3 shots so you have more detail in your picture. They're calling it backlit. To me, it's sort of like HDR basically, because you can bracket your shot. Okay, that's a great feature in my opinion, especially if you're traveling and you really don't have the time, to set up and on a tripod and do your HDR stuff. This will basically will bail you out because the system will just internally just take care of this. Okay, they have another feature which is handheld night shot feature, and what that does is that when you're shooting at night, there's slow shutter speed because there's not a lot of light. You're gonna have camera shake issues. So this feature fires 4 shots really fast, and I will not say it will eliminate camera shake, okay, because at night shutter speed is going to be slow, but this will reduce the camera shake. Okay, so that's a great feature if you don't have a tripod, if you're just out hanging out with your friends and you want to take some pictures and you don't want to use the pop-up flash. This handheld night shot feature I think is a great thing that they added, and it will basically bail you out. It will probably increase the ISO as well, but with the reduced camera shake you'll get acceptable sharpness out of your picture. Okay, ISO 100 to 12,800. A lot of people start comparing these numeric values with another camera. Guys, it doesn't work that way, and I'll give you an example. 5D Mark II, an amazing camera. It's known for the great ISO performance, full frame sensor camera. The ISO range on that camera was 100 to 6400. This has 100 to 12,800 range. Does that mean it's going to be better than 5D Mark II? No, it's not. So right now, it's just a numeric value. When we get the camera, when we test the camera, we take pictures at high ISO, that's when we actually get to determine if it's, you know, if it's really great in low light or not. Keep in mind, speed light is essential if you're shooting indoors. So even if the ISO performance is not, you know, top of the line, which it's not going to be for, you know, for a camera $850, but with the speed light, you should not have any issues. Okay, let me see if I'm missing anything. 5 frames per second, which is really, you know, I don't want to say really fast. You're not gonna shoot professional football games with this, obviously, you know, but for your regular stuff, you know, your kids, you know, playing I don't know, hockey or baseball, football, things like this, 5 frames per second is plenty plenty fast. Thing that I'm not a big fan of, and I criticize Nikon D3200 for that as well, focus points. This has 9 focus points. In my opinion, that's not enough. Okay, if you're gonna center everything you compose, all your subject, sure, you can get away with it. But for creative composition, 9 focus points are not enough. D3200 has 11. I believe it's not enough, and that's a department where I would really love for Canon and Nikon to improve, to have at least 15 or 21 focus points, so you have that freedom to compose a shot the way you want it. I'm not a big fan of recomposition. Those who follow me know this. Multiple reasons. If you're taking pictures at big apertures, when you recompose a shot, it's gonna get soft, especially if you're doing diagonal shots. Your focus plane is going to change. Okay. Another reason that I'm not a big fan of recomposition is that when you move that camera, your focusing point is going to change as well. That focusing point is active. So if you are taking picture in aperture mode, okay, which is AV in Canon, if that focus point lands on something that is too dark or something too bright, it's going to throw off the metering. That's one of the reasons why I am not a fan of recomposing. So if they improve this focusing points in future, that would pretty much solve that problem. So not a huge deal for, I guess, beginners, because you're still learning how to compose, how to take better pictures. But you know, for advanced amateur, I would say this could be a negative thing. All right, so yeah, it has the vari-angle touchscreen. It's got a lot of bells and whistles in there. Some of the things I really don't care for, like on the LCD screen, you can pretty much point and say, this is where I want to focus. The problem I have with this is that you should not be taking pictures like this using your viewfinder because of the camera shake. The proper way to hold the camera, I haven't done a video on it, I will do it, is, you know, you have to have a solid base so you hold it properly. If you're going to hold it like this, point it and say, this is where I want to, you know, focus, and you press on the back of your LCD screen and it takes a picture, there's going to be camera shake. So you're not going to get tack sharp pictures. It is a cool feature, you know, it's very common in your smartphones. So those of you who are a big fan of that thing, I guess for you it's a great feature. But if you're looking for tack sharp pictures and you want to eliminate the camera shake, you know, focusing on your LCD screen and taking a picture, pressing your LCD screen is, in my opinion, is not the correct way. I'm not an advocate of using the LCD screen and pressing the shutter release. You need to have a solid base so you can eliminate the camera shake. So these are some of the new features that they added. Cool stuff. I'm not too sure if it's going to really help you, you know, take your photography skills to the next level. One thing I really like though, which you'll see if you watch the Canon video, is the editing program. You can edit in the camera, which a lot of cameras now have it, but what I noticed was this has this filter. You can apply a filter, like after the editing, you can choose different filter and it will basically change the tone of the picture, which is, to me, it looked really nice. I liked it. Now obviously I edit my pictures, in Lightroom 3 and Lightroom 4, but those of you who don't want to spend an extra, some extra $150 for editing software, you guys can use these editing features and still get, pretty unique looking pictures. So that pretty much sums it up. I do plan to order this camera. I want to test it out, so hopefully in future I'll do a review of the camera and do a tutorial on it and tell you everything in detail. Hope all is well, and don't forget to check out the Canon video, and if you're looking for photography tutorials, make sure you subscribe. Alright guys, talk to you later. I'm such an idiot that I forgot to talk about the price. Okay, you're looking at $850 for just a camera body, and with the kit lens you're looking at $950. Now some of the people are going to compare this with D3200. There is a price difference. D3200 is $700 with the kit lens, and they don't sell just the camera body alone. So if you compare the camera body with the kit lens, this D3200 is $700 and this T4i is $950. I believe they're not in the same class. I would say T4i is slightly ahead, I would say, because of all the extra features that D3200 does not have. Now if you're not looking for those features, then perhaps D3200 would be okay for you. Now if you are already a Canon user, you have Canon lenses, then obviously it makes zero sense for you to buy the 3200. You have Canon users, all you have to do is change the camera body. That will run you about $850. Alright, so that's pretty much sums it up.